All right, peeps. Today we're going to do a little bit of a reteach on this adding integer stuff. I know I kind of talked about it yesterday, but the video was kind of short, and quite a few people told me that they kind of struggled with the information from that video. So I'm going to go over it again. I broke it down a little bit differently today. We're going to do some similar problems. Obviously, we're still adding integers, but I want to try it out a little bit differently today. Today I'm going to start with the one I think is the most difficult. It's that negative plus positive, or positive plus negative is the same thing. When you're adding a positive plus a negative number, like negative 440 plus, let's say, 30. So y'all, one of these numbers is less than 0, and the other number is more than 0. So y'all, even though we're adding these two numbers, to add a positive and a negative number, you actually have to subtract those two values. But subtracting is actually the second step. Before you subtract, you have to see if you have more positives or more negatives, because that's what kind of answer you're going to have. If you have more negatives, you have a negative answer. If you have more positives, you have a positive answer. Looking here, I have more negatives, so I would have a negative answer. So step one is see if you have more positive or negatives. So looking at this equation here, I have negative 40 and positive 30, which means I have more negatives. I have 40 negatives. Since I have more negatives, I know my answer is going to be negative. And now I take the second step, which just said was subtract. When you subtract, you take the number that has a larger value. Don't worry about the sign. So it's 40 minus 30, which gives me 10. Which means the answer to this equation would be negative 10. All right, there's another problem here. We have a positive plus a negative. So again, we see if we have more positives or negatives. I have positive 13 and negative 12. On this one, I have more positives, so my answer is going to be positive. I don't have to write the positive sign. So now I need to do step 2, which is subtract 13 minus 12. Gives me just 1. So the answer to this problem is positive 1. Remember, positive plus negative or negative plus positive is when you have to do these two steps here. All right, the last two rules are pretty easy, but I still want to talk about them. Positive plus positive, really you just need to add whatever two values you have. And when you add two positives, it will always give you a positive answer. A couple examples of that is 3 plus 10. 3 plus 10 is 13. All of those are positive. Or 5 plus 6. 5 plus 6, both of those are positive, so 5 plus 6 equals positive 11. The last one that we're going to be talking about today is actually just the opposite of positive plus positive. It's when you take a negative plus a negative. When you do negative plus negative, you still need to start by adding your values. But since both of your values are negative, when you add a negative plus a negative, it's going to always give you a negative answer. A couple examples of that would be if I added negative 3 plus negative 11. Well, 3 plus 11 is 14, so negative 3 plus negative 11 has to be negative 14. Same thing is true if I had negative 5 plus negative 15. 5 plus 15 is 20. So if I add a negative 5 and a negative 15, I'm going to end up with negative 20. I'm gonna bring my camera forward and kind of zoom it in on these notes here. That way you can copy them down because you will need these notes for the assignment that you have. Go ahead and pause it if you need to copy those notes down. Please make sure you take your time on this assignment, y'all. If you use the rules and you look at the problems and see what type of problem it is, negative plus negative, positive plus positive, or a positive plus negative or negative plus positive, if you look at the type of problem first before you try to solve it, I guarantee you'll get more of them correct. Please don't just start going in there and adding all the numbers together. Take your time.